Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. Tonight is episode 100. Whew, I can't believe I'm even saying that. Like, it's crazy to think I launched a show last August. I'm already at 100 episodes and I've interviewed amazing musicians. Guys, if you're new to the show, support the musicians on my show. I'm telling you, thank you guys. Thank you for joining. If this is your first time tuning in, go to my website, ashleyllivemusic.com. Go to my YouTube, Vibin with Ashley Live. You will see all the episodes up. Guys, support my show, support my musicians. Support my musicians. I'm a little tongue-tied. I'm a little excited. Thank you, Kerwin. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your support. Guys, I'm so excited to bring you tonight's guest. She's in the room. I'm just going to give her a short introduction, okay? Episode 100. Her name is Ainae, and she's a singer-songwriter from Washington, D.C. Music has been in her life her entire childhood, so it just seemed normal that she would pursue music. Earlier this year, she was featured on season 20 of The Voice, Team Kelly Clarkson, and she does this really cool thing, Freestyle Fridays, where there's a beat going on and she freestyles over it. So I'm really excited to celebrate episode 100 with Ainae and all you beautiful people. So thank you again. Support my musicians, support this show. I'm telling you guys, these musicians, if they're not good musicians, I don't allow them on this show. I only support good music, and I think the people closest to me know that I have amazing taste in music because I do. So I'm telling you, I have the best music taste out of anybody I know, and that's why these people are on the show. Ainae, whenever you're ready, request to join my live, and we will get this party started. Also, because it's 100, whee! That was confetti and it's still in my hair. So we're celebrating. Also, there's some confetti in my hair, but ooh. So guys, where are you tuning in from tonight? Oh, there she is. Ainae!
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's your night going?
Great. I just ate. I'm feeling good. How are you doing?
I am doing so well. I'm sure you were in the room and you heard it. Episode 100 is tonight, and you are my special guest.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm so excited to get to learn a little bit more about you. You're going to sing for us, and then you're going to take some questions from the audience.
Yes.
Beautiful. So yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. I start each show with a song lyric. So tonight's song lyric will be from the beautiful, legendary Erykah Badu.
Okay.
I know. So I'm going to share some song lyrics from this song. And you're either going to tell me what this song means to you or what Erykah Badu means to you. Cool?
Sounds good.
Cool. Peace and blessings manifest with every lesson learned. If your knowledge were your wealth, then it will be well earned. If we were made in his image, then call us by our names. Most intellects do not believe in God, but they fear us just the same.
I love Erykah Badu, and I just did a cover to one of her songs. I mean, one, I love that song, but two, it's just all about, one, knowing yourself and understanding that you don't know everything. And if you think you know everything, you fear the fact that there's no way to know everything. So anybody who thinks they know everything has this fear that either they'll be caught in not knowing or whatever have you. So the whole song is just about knowing that you are not in power. You aren't. And just giving glory to your creator, but also just keeping on. And
Yeah, I love that song. You've covered that song before. And that's why I wanted to share those lyrics with you, because I have a lot of people on the show and they do some amazing covers, but you know, I have to bring Erykah out when I can, because it's just amazing talking about her.
Yes, yes, I agree. That song's awesome because it's so deep. And
Yes.
you can interpret it any way and it'll still apply. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with interpretation of lyrics, right, we all have our own interpretation of like what a song means.
yeah,
Like there's several different interpretations of songs. And
yeah.
so it's something fun I like to do with my artists, especially when you cover the song and you know it.
Yeah, and I feel like the song, interestingly enough, ties into us being in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Having to push forward, and we're all on our self-care journeys and knowledge journeys now. So, yeah.
Yeah. You have to keep learning. You got to just keep one foot in front of the other and keep
Yeah.
going on and on and on.
Exactly.
So let's start at the very beginning. How did music shape your childhood, and how old were you when music first came into your life?
So I was always surrounded by music. My dad's an audio engineer. My mom worked in music marketing. So my whole house was always filled with music, Jamiroquai, Amy Winehouse. So I couldn't escape it even if I wanted to, but why would you, you know? So having that kind of upbringing, I think only lends itself to be a musician.
Yeah.
Or at least work somewhere in music. And so that's where I am now, like doing music, but also my grandma was the owner of Twins Jazz, which is a jazz club. So like I was just surrounded, intertwined with music my entire life. And it's honestly, I feel like it's made me more of a well-rounded artist because I can listen to different genres and appreciate it and intertwine into my own music.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy with the music that I was brought up with.
Yeah, I just want to circle back here because you mentioned Jamiroquai.
Mm.
I'm obsessed with Jamiroquai.
Yes.
I've seen them 3 times.
Really?
3 times live, well, when shows were happening, but they like never come to the States.
No, I didn't even know. Yeah, I thought it was all.
Yeah.
So they had shows here or no?
They did. So so I first saw them in New York City because they were only doing like big cities, right? Like they were only doing big cities. So I saw them in New York at a very small venue in Times Square. I saw them in Atlantic City at the Hard Rock. And then I saw them at Forest Hill Stadium. I think that was maybe 2008, 2009. They were at an outdoor venue in Queens in New York City.
Hey.
So 3 times. And you need to tell me about your journey.
You're lucky.
Oh my God, I love Jamiroquai, so I'm so happy that you even brought them up. So tell me about your journey with them.
Well, Virtual Insanity was always playing in my house. I think that's had to have been my parents' favorite song. But my mom used to always tell me stories that when she was pregnant with me, they would dance to their albums. So I guess I have I came out the womb like, okay, I'm ready for the album. I was hearing like little things through the belly, but
yeah.
But yeah, Virtual Insanity was always on repeat.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you to your parents, because the thing is, there's a lot of people that I talk to that have never heard of Jamiroquai. So for them to say, here's this music, this is what we grew up listening to, and for you to even say that, I'm just so appreciative, because nobody like appreciates Jamiroquai. And if you guys don't know Jamiroquai, I'm telling you, go listen to their music. It is next level, acid jazz, fun, funky. They do have some ballads here and there, but most of it's just like new disco.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, it's so cool. How would you describe your music?
I would say my music is a mix between R&B, pop, and hip hop.
Yeah.
All together. Yeah, like mixes of Lauryn Hill in there, Amy Winehouse. Because I love poetry, so sometimes I find myself, my dad always, he's like, you talk too much in your music, okay? So like I'm more conscious of it, but love having like little rap sections in my song. So yeah.
There's no problem with talking in music, because as you know, the legendary Jill Scott,
oh yes,
talks a lot. And yeah. Jill is, I actually just talking about Jill, I just got chills through my entire I love her.
Yes, I love her too. My mom is the biggest fan.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the thing is with Jill is all poetry, spoken word.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And I love when artists, the root of their musical capability is poetry, because poetry is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely helps when you're a songwriter, because you're just able to express yourself in so many creative ways.
Yeah, I mean, being a songwriter, you are a poet.
Yeah.
It's just all about knowing how to be concise.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't need a bunch of words to say that you love someone or whatever the message is. But I love poetry because you can say things without actually saying it. You can paint a picture with your words, and people are able to understand it, even though you didn't explicitly say, I love you, or you didn't explicitly say whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the power of storytelling is so beautiful. And I do talk to a lot of singers, and some of them do not have strong songwriting skills. But when I talk to songwriters, I just have a totally different conversation. You know what I mean? Because that's a craft all in itself. Like,
oh, yeah.
There's so many incredible songwriters out there that will never perform their songs, right? They'll just give them to certain artists. And it's like the way they frame those words is so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, for people who are just songwriters, I mean, they're making most of the money. So if you're a songwriter, you know, lean into that. I'm like, I always think about that. I'm like, Rihanna, because I'm like, she doesn't write majority, or I'm sure she writes some of her songs, but a lot of the songs, there's songwriters in the room.
Right.
And I'm like, the songwriters are taking more than 50% of that check.
Yep.
So that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's like, oh my God, because you look at some of these liner notes, or you're like, who wrote that song? Maybe it's just one person, maybe it's like 4 or 5 people. You're like, who are these people? Like, if you were in the store, you would never know who these people are, because they're just songwriters. I mean, yes, of course, you know Rihanna. She can't walk in a supermarket without people wanting to take her photo. Yeah. But the songwriters, the cool thing about that is, you're right, they're making all the money. So that's where it's at.
And it's so, like, to be able to write, of course, part of it is their story, but to be able to have a different artist in mind when writing a song, and then having the artist like it, and then wanting to put it on this huge stage and sing it, it's a whole other talent. Like, how can you sit there and write for someone else in the same tone that you think that they would, you know, it's just, you got to think of a lot of different things for it all to work. And it's so cool that people, like, that's a job.
I know. And it's like, and people who do it, they love it, and they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
How would you describe your creative process?
Honestly, my creative process since being in a pandemic has changed, and it's not even, I wouldn't even call it a real process anymore. It's just like, I get inspired, and then I open my laptop, get on Logic, and I just start playing around with stuff until something sounds good. But I take different approaches. Sometimes I have lyrics in my head or melodies in my head, so I'll just voice, like, you should see my voice memos. It's ridiculous. It got to a point where I had to get more storage because, sorry, my dog is super loud.
Hey, I have a dog downstairs too. Thankfully you can't hear him, but it's all good.
He has so much bass in his voice. I'm like, calm down. But so, like, sometimes I'll have melodies in my head or lyrics, and I'll put it on voice memos and just sing it over and over again. And then I'll go on Logic and, like, try to iron it out, or I'll reach out to a musician friend. I'm like, look, this is what I have in my head. Can you please help me bring this to life? Because I don't play, I'm not fluent in an instrument.
Yeah.
So I always have to, like, lean on, like, my friends who play guitar or piano to see if they can add more sauce to what I'm coming up with.
Yeah.
Other times I'm writing it down in a journal. Like, I like to write poetry, so sometimes I'm just like, I like a line that I wrote, and I'm just like, how can I turn this into a song? So I'm just figuring out what rhymes with that, what can the melody be. I feel like that's more, well, it's more fun when it's a blank slate and you can just do whatever and just see if this sounds good. But when you have, like, one line and you're trying to fit it, like, build everything else around that one line. Yeah. It's interesting. Sometimes it's very frustrating, but it gets done.
So, okay, so you said you had, like, tons of voice memos. How many do you think you have?
Whew. More than 300.
Wow.
Because
So,
I still have voice memos since I was in like high school.
wow. So do you ever like go back to them? Do you say maybe like, oh, this Saturday I'm just gonna like maybe listen to 10 of them and see if I can get anything from it?
Yeah. I also have videos because once my phone stopped working because I had too many, so I had to start recording on my like video.
Yeah.
So it looks like just the table and just I'm just singing. So
Yeah.
I'll like go through because I have unfinished ideas on there. So I sometimes if I can't, for some reason I feel like I'm not able to come up with something, I'll go through and I'm like, okay, what's the unfinished idea that I had?
Yeah.
Or what's the finished idea that just isn't hitting the same that I can make better, and I'll just listen through. But there's so many.
Yeah. I think that's so awesome though, because a lot of people do voice memos and you just never know what's going to stick. Maybe like 4 voice memos just complete that song for you.
Yeah, because sometimes you sing it perfectly once and then you're like, wait, how did I sing it? If you didn't record it, it's gone.
You're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah. I'm like, wait a second, how did I just sing that?
Yeah.
That's why I have to do voice memos.
No, I think that's so important to keep them all. But yeah, you're right. Once you have so much stuff on your phone's like, yep, no more storage, no more storage. Yep. Like, wait, what do I do now?
I just make sure to back it up, and I don't know. It's the one thing that I will say, having a bunch of voice memos, it's easy to forget how many ideas you have.
Yeah. So
I have to make a concerted effort, like, okay, I'm going to go through the voice memos of whatever time frame.
Yeah.
Because I think it gets intimidating when you have a lot and to sift through and whatever, but there's some gold in that mess. So
and hopefully it will come out soon.
Oh yes.
Yes! So you posted a cover of Wannabe by the Spice Girls and absolutely killed it. Like, you just threw this whole jazzy rendition.
Thank you.
And you sang it. And I was like, whoa, wait, I've heard this song quite a few times in my life, but I've never heard it done that way. Can you tell me about what that song like means to you and what it meant growing up?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I'm just now getting into like fully into the Spice Girls because I always only heard that song.
Right? Yeah.
Just on repeat. And I always have this thing where I love to sing covers, but I'm like, anybody can sing a cover. Like, how am I going to make it my own? And I'm like, what is going to make someone want to hear it? And how can I add my own spin? Like, even when I do concerts, like if I do a cover, I try to make it my own no matter what. So when I was like, I found this beat before I even knew what I was going to sing to it. And I was like, I feel like I could make this a little more funky.
Yeah.
So then I put Wannabe on the beat. And like, I was just singing, playing around with it. I was like, this is fire. Okay. Yes! But I love the song because it's honestly like, if you were to be in a relationship, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Like, tell me what your intentions are. You know, you gotta be cool with my friends. Like, none of this weird behavior is gonna fly. And I'm gonna figure out if you're weird early in the game. You know? And tell me about you also. Like, I love that, like, back and forth. It's just a fun song. So, like, adding it to, like, a jazzy beat, it adds a different character, different personality to it.
Yeah, I think it's so awesome because when I heard it, I was like, ooh, because you're right. Anybody can sing the pop version of that song, but a jazz version is so cool. And with the lyrics, I never knew what they were talking about, like ever. But I loved it because they were always about power and just like confidence and like not letting anyone get you down. And like, I think I told you earlier, I'm obsessed with the Spice Girls. I have all five Spice Girl Barbies.
Really?
I do. I'm obsessed with them. So, yeah, I've
love that.
I've seen them.
Dolls.
I still have them. I'm not getting rid of them because that's a part of me. Like,
yeah,
Spice Girl magazines and stuff, like from back in the day. And I hold on to them. I'm like, because I love them. I was part of that group.
I mean, you got to get it framed at this point.
I know, right? Like, you know, it's been a while since they came out, and like their own line of like lollipops and stuff. Like they were everywhere back in the day before the internet. Like their branding, they actually had a line of like lollipops. So you could go to the store and just get a lollipop and it was wrapped with like Emma or Melody. And you're like, oh, this lollipop sucks, but like the branding's really cool.
Marketing, what can
before the internet.
That's cool. I might come up with a line of lollipops.
I think that's cool. I think it's cool because think about it. Like some people like lollipops, some people like chocolate. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the branding behind it is so cool because it just like had them on the cover. Oh, Devin, we're talking about the Spice Girls.
Thank you, Natural Bee Queen, for watching my video. Hey, Devin!
When Devin and I chatted the other day, we were talking about the Spice Girls. So I feel like he knew we were talking about the Spice Girls, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to join now.
Oh, yeah. I love the whole voice family's in here. Hey, Niche.
Yes! Hey, guys!
Hey, voice
Hi, Victor. So, do you have a favorite Spice Girl?
Probably Scary Spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the cool one.
Yeah.
They're all cool.
Yes.
She's feisty, you know, and I like that.
Very feisty. You want to know something crazy? Melanie C is like an absolute powerhouse. Like she is always releasing new music.
She is.
Yes.
I have not. I mean, I always knew that she was on American. Is it American Idol? That she was one of the coaches, or what's it?
Melanie. Scary Spice was on AGT, America's Got Talent.
AGT. Yeah. I was like, it's one of those.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely you need to listen to Mel C. Like you need to. Like, he's released recent
Mel B and Mel C. You're right.
Yes, I'm telling you. And then you can do a cover of one of Mel C songs.
Yeah. I'm writing this all down.
Okay, cool. So earlier this year, you were on season 20 of The Voice, and you picked Best Part by Her for your blind audition. Walk us back to that day and what made you pick that song?
So, well, first of all, hey, Vic. Hey, Victor.
Hey, Victor!
Why did I choose that song? Well, when you send in the songs, there's like, you put like 40 songs, right? And you're just like putting your fingers together. You're like, I hope.
Yeah.
It was honestly a surprise that I got that song, but I love the song because I used to sing it all the time with my dad.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2 years ago, my dad picked up the guitar and started learning. And that was one of the songs that he would just over and over again, like to the point the whole family's like, all right, you can stop. So he would always sing it. We would always sing it together. And the year before, not even the year before, for Thanksgiving, there's a video of me and him singing it. So it was just like kind of like a full circle moment. Like, that's crazy that I'm now singing this on a huge stage for The Voice.
Yeah.
But like, I decided to put my own spin to the song and turn it into what I thought was different and gave it a different feel. And I could just put my own spin on it. I'm like, because the problem is when I got the song, I was a little scared because I was looking it up on YouTube and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody already sang this on The Voice. Like, I cannot sing it exactly the same. No one's going to turn around for me.
Right.
So I was just like combing through my brain. I was like, how can I change this? And then I ended up reproducing the entire thing.
Yeah.
And so that was like a super cool, like, I didn't even think that was possible, but it was. And that was so dope.
Yeah. I think it's so cool, though, that you made it your own. Because the thing is, like you said with the Spice Girls, right? You could have sang it like that. But The Voice, they don't want you to sing it like the recorded version. They want you to put your own spin on it and your vocal capabilities.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's honestly about knowing exactly what you want. Because you're working with a professional band. Like, they know. We don't even have time to really go through like the intricacies if you don't necessarily know what the song is.
Yes.
So I had to like really be prepared. Like, this is what the beats per measure are, and this is exactly how I want the piano. This is exactly how the guitar needs to be, and then like also give them the freedom to make it their own, like to make it as good as possible.
Right.
So that was a cool experience because it honestly taught me a lot of professionalism when it comes to working with professional musicians.
Yeah.
And how to prepare to have like a successful show, but also just not wasting time, because there was no time to waste for The Voice.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things where like you're up there, you don't even realize you're up there, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, somebody turned. Now I'm preparing, and then I'm this.
Oh, literally.
And then you blink, and then you're like, wait, did that actually happen? Was that real life?
Yes, literally.
Yeah. So the craziest thing though about your audition was one person turned, and it was Kelly Clarkson. And the crazy thing about it is you were the last person to ever be placed on a team. So the only reason the other 3 judges didn't turn is because their chairs were full.
Yeah.
I feel like you would have got a 4-chair turn. Like totally.
Thank you.
But it's just crazy because they're all like, well, I would have turned, but my team was full.
Yeah. It's interesting because, well, one, it was awesome because I'm like, what? Before they told me I was going on stage, I was like, I think I'm going home. Like, I don't think there's any space on anybody's team. Blah, 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 blah.
Did you know that?
I didn't know I was the last person.
Really?
Because there was like, so what happens is they line you up until the team gets filled. So there's no real buffer or anything. Like, I could have been the last person, and somebody could have been getting ready to go on stage, and they might have been told that, okay, now you're going home because all the teams are filled. Wow. So I thought that was going to be me, because there were 2 or 3 people in front of me. I was like, well, I prayed about it. If this is God, what you're telling me, but okay. And then they were like, okay, Ainae, you're next. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So then I step on stage, and then Kelly tells me that was it. There was no more spots. I took the last spot. It was very surreal. I'm still very grateful that I even had the opportunity, because if you really think about it, if one thing changed, it would have been a different outcome. Completely.
Wait, so the people that were in front of you, did you know that they weren't picked, or what was that situation?
No. You don't know anything.
You don't know anything. Okay.
You're not allowed to watch.
Yeah.
You're in getting ready to perform mode. So you're drinking your tea. You can like hear faint whispers of what they're talking about, but it's you can't make out anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's gotta be so like exciting but nervous. And then you're like, oh my God, somebody turned. Now I'm in front of all 4 judges. That's gotta be such an awesome experience.
Yeah. Because once you hit the stage, you're like, okay, well, now you have a shot to prove why you need to be here. So give your 110%, because 10 seconds ago, you thought you were going home. So there's no excuse for any mess ups at this performance. There's no time for that.
You blink and you're like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
So what is it like working with Kelly?
She's the sweetest. What you see on TV is who she actually is. Yeah. She's a mom to everyone. Like everything about her that you see on TV is who she is.
Yeah.
Just so warm-hearted, and like she gave like really good advice on just different things I could do with my voice and things I should not do with my voice, just to be a better singer. And I feel like it's made me just be more thoughtful about how I sing different songs. So yeah.
Yeah. So do you ever watch her talk show?
She's hilarious.
Oh my God, I love her. I'm like, I want to be friends with her.
She's hilarious. I'm like, when is she gonna let me get on this show?
Well, I know what you should do. I kid you not, if you go on the website, there's like a contact section, and it says like, oh, are you like, and it asks random questions like, oh, like, are you doing a good thing, or are you whatever? But you like submit yourself to be on her show, and of course she would have you because she picked you on her team. So it's not like she wouldn't know who you are. Like, she picked you.
It's worth a shot.
You should really shoot your shot, because the thing is, like, she already knows who you are. And then we can all tag her and just be like, because then she'll be like, oh my God, you submitted yourself to be on the show.
Yeah.
Needs to happen.
Yeah. I need all the support, guys.
Yes. please tag Kelly Clarkson, and then you need to submit your stuff, and we're going to see you on the show soon.
Yes. We're manifesting it, all that.
We're totally manifesting that. Mm-hmm. So tell me about the most surprising moment on The Voice.
The most surprising is when she turned around.
Yeah.
What's another surprising moment? I think just doing all like the wardrobe fittings and the interviews. One, wardrobe was amazing because you just feel so cool and you're stepping in. There's thousands of different outfit options. And you just feel like, oh my goodness, this is what they were talking about on TV. That was super cool. Interviews, you don't realize how much you really need to think before that. Like, you really need to prepare for interviews like that, because it's all about like, what's your story and how do you want America to know you and all that good stuff. So I think it just makes you realize that, one, it's kind of like a homework assignment, but it makes you more self-aware. Like, so I think doing interviews every single day for hours at a time, it made me reanalyze who I am and like who I want the world to know me as. Because you have to be thoughtful with your words and just be 110% yourself. Like, don't allow the camera to scare you, because it can be a little scary because you're like, oh my goodness, this is going to be on a big screen. You start to shy, but then it's like, no, just be yourself. Get comfortable. So I think these were very different for me.
Definitely. I think being yourself is so important, right? Because you guys are all there for a reason. And the interviews make it so awesome, because as you're talking about yourself and your story, you're choosing certain things to share, and then they piece it together and they help tell your story. Yeah.
It's that part where they're helping to tell your story. Just like, I just hope that whatever I said or gave is going to be used properly. Because American Idol, back in the day, they used to edit people's stories crazy. They used to make people look insane.
Yeah.
So, but I know The Voice, they don't have that kind of persona. But you just, I didn't know going in. I was like, I don't really know what story they're going to tell. You kind of have to like have a hands-off approach, and you guide it, of course. Like, in the interviews, you're guiding it and you're close with your producer. But it can be scary because you don't really know what's going to hit the screen.
Are you cool with how you were portrayed?
I'm very grateful for how I was portrayed. Everyone's story was amazing. It's just the process leading up. Like, you don't get to see how they edit you at all. So it's just like a surprise.
Like, I hope they didn't catch that one part, or maybe that one edit where I felt, you know what I mean? Because you're right. The power of editing and how they're all supposed to try to put it into this well-packaged show. Like, they can't show everything, but you hope that what they do show is awesome and portrays you in the best way.
Yeah, definitely.
So, in June, you graduated from Howard University. Congrats!
Thank you.
Yes. So, talk to us about being at Howard, but being on The Voice at the same exact time, your final year.
It was a hot mess, if I'm going to be frank about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we were not in a pandemic, it would have been a whole different conversation, because I would have had to choose between going to school and doing The Voice.
Right.
Can't do places at once.
Yeah.
But thankfully, well, I shouldn't even really say thankfully, because the pandemic was horrible, but I was able to do virtual classes, so I could be in 5 places at once. When we would have meetings for The Voice, I'd have mandatory class for attendance. I'd have all these different things. Like, I would have my phone in the bathroom on so that my professors could mark me as in the class.
Oh my God!
Laptop doing The Voice meeting. And then luckily I had an iPad, so I'd have my iPad doing because I was also working. I would have my iPad over there in my meetings. I'm just like, but I did it. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, because going in, I was so afraid that I was going to be overwhelmed. Of course, there were moments where I was overwhelmed. When I had tests coming up and homework assignments, I just felt like they were piling on top of me. But since there was so many, a lot of the voice contestants were in high school. Like, I feel like there was like five, Gianna. Yeah, there was a bunch of people who were in high school. So they were all doing homework and doing tests and all that. So, like, we were all in the same boat.
Yeah.
And a few other people were in school. So it wasn't just me who's doing school and college. Yeah. So we could lean on each other and like be supportive.
Yeah.
But it was a hot mess. All about time management, trying to be in two places at once. If you think you can't do it, you can.
You definitely can do it.
You can. Only thing is, if you need to talk on these Zoom calls, I don't know how to help you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because not only is it a pandemic, for some of the time that you're there, you have to keep it a secret because you cannot let people know first you auditioned or you made the show. Like, you have to keep it under wraps. Like, you can't tell anybody.
Well, I ended up telling my teachers because I needed all the sympathy possible. It's like, y'all need to help me out. Because we had a 3-hour time difference. So I'm taking tests at 6 o'clock in the morning and I had to ask my teachers if I could take my test earlier because we didn't really start our working day until like maybe 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So it was all about, like, my teachers couldn't tell anyone, but my teachers. They're like, oh my God, yeah, we'll do whatever. Like, wow, thank you so much.
That's good that they were so supportive.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes teachers aren't, but it's like, it's your final year. And yes, we're in this pandemic that nobody even saw coming. So yeah, thank God for virtual learning because you would have like your final year or The Voice.
Yeah. I even had one teacher who I told him that I was on The Voice. And when it came time to watch the show, he like made it a whole announcement. He put it on our blackboard, make sure to Ainae. And he made everyone like turn their camera on and tell me congrats. It was like a whole thing.
So sweet.
I know.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it was crazy. It was very grateful for the teachers I had.
Mm-hmm. So for those people who don't know this story, you auditioned for The Voice 4 years ago, and the casting person said something to you. Can you bring us back to that moment in time? And for those people who are not familiar with this story, just shed some light on it.
Mm-hmm. So I auditioned in Baltimore at the convention center, line wrapped around the place.
Yeah.
And I remember I don't even know where I like saw the advertisement. I was just like, Mom, we're going. We stood in that line for hours, and then we finally got to sit down and sing, and everyone was singing. And then when it came my turn, I sang River by Leon Bridges, but it was all a cappella versions.
Yeah.
And I was a little shy. Like, I think my voice was, it wasn't as developed as, like, back then, what year was I in high school? I just had a lot of, things I needed to work on when it came to like breath control. But when I was singing, I felt good about it.
Yeah.
And then when I was done, the person who was basically auditing and telling people who was cut and blah, 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 he made everyone leave except for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to LA. No, so I come up and talk to him and he was just like, you have an amazing voice, and I don't even know if you need to audition for The Voice, to be honest. I think you have some things to work on when it comes to like control and breathing, but you're so young, basically, is what he was saying. Like, I have so much potential, and to get more practice performing. That was the biggest thing. I hadn't performed anywhere before. This is like the first time that I really like stepped out of my shell and decided to sing in front of him. So he gave me that advice of like, go perform more, work on different things for your voice, but you have potential. So it wasn't like I left sad. I honestly felt uplifted after I always think, I'm like, what was his name?
Aw.
One day we'll cross paths again because he honestly inspired me to continue to pursue music. After that audition, I ended up joining my arts academy at my high school and started getting vocal lessons and just learning how to read music. So it was a catalyst to where I am now.
Yeah, I think that's so amazing because I feel like a lot of people that would have happened to would just be like, oh my God, like, I feel so sad. But I love that he kind of like pulled you aside and was like, just work on things, keep you'll get this. Like, you're gonna get it. So that just gave you the strength and the power to just keep on going.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it takes hearing someone outside of your family to be like, you have something special.
Yeah.
You need to work on it a little bit longer. And that's like completely fine, you know, because I was so young and I still have things that I need to work on that I feel like you should always be trying to learn and be better. I was like it wasn't what I wanted, but it was a way to exit. And now it's like a full circle moment that now I'm on the show. I was on the show and
and I think advice, some people are like very hesitant to get advice from other people, but sometimes it's just like, I think you're good, but you just need to develop a couple more things and just keep practicing, because I feel like the more you practice and put yourself out there, you just like, it's like, okay, the first time you sang, maybe there were some things that you could have worked on, but then the 50th time you sang, you improved because you just kept singing and singing. So there's always room for improvement. So it's like, and it's kind of like the 10,000 hour rule, right? Where it's like, if you do something for 10,000 hours, you're going to be awesome at it. But like, if you do it for 50, maybe not so much.
Yeah, exactly. And if everyone's telling you yes, at some point, someone's going to tell you no. And hopefully you take that no and you transform it into a yes. And that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah. And I think with musicians and artists, you need to be okay hearing a no, because a no does not make you break down. It should be like, well, I know someone's going to say yes, and he may have just said no to me, but like, I know someone's going to say yes.
Yeah, just believe in yourself.
Yes, I completely agree. Just keep going, believe in yourself. Like, if you want to get better at something, you just got to put the work in.
Yep.
So let's talk about Freestyle Friday. When did you develop this? Like, tell us a little bit more about Freestyle Friday.
So Freestyle Fridays, I believe I started in high school, where every Friday, or college, every Friday I would do a freestyle to a beat that I liked, or even do a cover transformed into something that I really vibed with. Yeah. Make it my own. And that was my way of really, I feel like sometimes there's a lot of pressure to, like, you need to put out stuff all the time as a musician so you can build your fan base and connect and do all that good stuff. But I want to find a way to do it my way. Yeah. And that's why I did the Freestyle Fridays. One, kept me consistent, but also I just love to do a little freestyle on a beat. Because I didn't know that I'm not going to say that I'm really good at it, but I do think I have it's like, I don't know. It just feels good doing it. Yeah. But when I was in The Voice, we kind of had to stop doing things like that. So it's been like a brief pause. Right. But we're back. Like, I have covers coming out. Covers last week. We're getting back on the train because I just love to do covers, but make them my own. So yeah.
I think it's cool because you're right. It's consistency, and it's like everybody looks forward to it because it's like, oh, Friday, Freestyle Friday, I'm going to do this. And it's like, it just keeps you relevant. Because I think with consistency and content, it's like, you think of some musicians over the past, 6, 7, 8 months, or even during this pandemic, right? And it's like, some of these musicians like have just gone silent. And you're like, where'd you go?
Yeah. But then part of me is like, sometimes you need a silent period because everyone has whatever mental health thing that they have going. The pressure of having to put something out every week or every month or whatever of course is. I think sometimes as a consumer we are so caught up in needing more that we don't allow people to be people. Totally. So sometimes when I'm like, yes, I would love a new album, Rihanna, But know that you have so many things in the works, and you probably are tired of people asking for an album from you.
Yeah.
You know?
It'll come out soon. It'll just be on
Soon.
her. She's running several different empires.
Yeah. Plus, you want it to be quality. You don't want it to be rushed.
Yeah, it's always quality over quantity.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. So tell the beautiful people watching right now where they can find you on all your social media platforms.
So I'm simple, okay? All you have to type in is Ainae on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Deezer, whatever you use, I'm there. Type my name. And when you stream it, let me know, send me a DM, tell me what you think. 'Cause I would love for you to listen to my music.
Awesome. And tell people right now how they can support you as a musician on your musical journey.
So support me, follow my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm really putting out a lot of YouTube covers and videos on YouTube, so definitely join me on that journey. But I have new songs coming out soon. Yep. So just stay tuned because I post pretty frequently, so you'll always be up to date. And DM me. Like, I respond to my DMs. So if you want to chat, if you want to collab, the DMs are open.
I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I guess with, collabing and stuff, you're open to that. Like, you're cool doing duets. You're cool, like, bouncing ideas off of people.
Of course. I think that's honestly the one way to ensure growth, because you have to see how well you work with other people in order to really know how you work. Because working by yourself, that's easy, like, whatever. But throw somebody else in the mix who has a different style, who has a different method of coming up with lyrics, and see how you adapt, but how also you can mesh those things together. Because I even think about it, I'm like, her, when she has so many collabs, many collaborations with people, rappers, singers, all of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how you move into a whole different market. People who didn't even know you are listening to your songs because you collaborated with whomever.
Yep.
But now you've built that relationship, and whatever influenced them is now influencing how you go about writing music.
Definitely. It's so funny that you say that about her, because her performed with Chris Stapleton at the Country Music Awards. Yeah. And I had to see it because I like both of them. And I was like, think of all these country musicians and fans of country music that are going to be seeing her for the first time.
Exactly.
Who is she?
That's why it's so funny when we're talking about her, because it's like, I love her and her. I love her. But she's such a well-rounded artist.
Yeah.
The fact that she can dive into so many different genres and it doesn't feel foreign. It just feels natural. She's 1,010% herself.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's inspiring, and it makes you want to see how far you can go. Like, how far can you push yourself? Like, you don't have to stick in one genre if you don't want to. Maybe try to do a gospel record, or try, like, someone who sings country music. I know some people from The Voice who sing country. Maybe I should dip into that. Or even taking some of the twang that they have in the song, or like how Dolly Parton, the way she writes. Because country music's beautiful. The way that they tell stories is moving.
Definitely.
And figuring out how to put that into your own style, it's cool.
Yeah. You absolutely love Jolene by Dolly Parton.
Yes.
That's your jam. Why do you love it?
Well, also when my dad started playing guitar, that was another one of the songs he used to play all the time. But my mom, growing up, really loved that song. So she'd randomly just be singing it throughout the house. And then when my dad could play guitar, me and my sister, my mom, he'd play, and we'd just be singing all the words. It's Jolene, Jolene, Jolene. I'm like, none of us have been through any of this thinking about, but it's a great song.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I love that song. It's so well written, and Dolly Parton is absolutely incredible.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I completely agree. I love Dolly Parton.
So I know you said new music, but talk to us. What does the next like 6 months of your life look like? Are you going on tour? I know some collabs are happening, new music. What is going on with you?
It's a lot of doing music videos and getting those together. Merch is coming. I have singles that are getting mixed and mastered now. So keep your eyes open. But yeah, the next few months is just a rollout of a bunch of stuff. Music, visual content, different experiences. Because with the pandemic, the world has, I mean, not even the world, the internet, what I thought was possible has completely, there's so many things that I didn't even think was possible. And then I'm seeing throughout the pandemic, I'm like, oh my goodness, is this a virtual concert? And it looks like, how the heck did you do that? Right. Or taking there's just so many different approaches when it comes to like music marketing and how you can really get to know your fans. Yeah. So that's to come, because I want to get to know everyone and really show my appreciation. So all that.
So cool that you say that, because fans love that. Like, think about it. Like, we can all sit here and DM her, right? We can. And she won't see it, right? Because she gets hundreds of thousands of DMs and messages. But the thing is, when you reach out to an artist, maybe with not that, you know, broad of a fan base, and you just say like, oh, thanks so much for your comment. Like, I really appreciate that. That fan always remembers that. Yeah.
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 And I feel like, I forget the name of this artist, but I saw something where she basically would do a listening event, like a small listening event with a few select fans. Well, not even select. It was like first come, first serve.
Right.
And all the fans are like going crazy because they're having one-on-one time with her. And I'm like, that's so cool. Because I don't think a lot of artists get so caught up in, well, I don't have the time. But you don't realize, like, these people are listening to your music and they might love your music more than you do. So you gotta really appreciate the people who are supporting you and helping you push forward, because those moments where you didn't feel like continuing to go, they were there to tell you, like, we need more music and we love the story and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I think fan engagement is so important, because you might put a song up, right? And you might be like, well, I don't really love it, but I just put it up. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh my God, I love that song. It means XYZ to me. And then it just touches them in a certain way. So when you get that one-on-one time with your fan, whether it's a message, a DM, just a comment, it's awesome for both of you, the musician and the fan.
And I don't know if you know the artist. I think his name is John Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes. He does this IG live where he just dances with people. They'll join his live and he's like jamming. I'm like, what the heck? Who would have even thought?
Right.
So opening up a live and just dancing. And 30 people by now have probably joined the live and are like, oh my God, I joined his live. He talked to me. Blah, blah, blah.
Right. Yeah, and they'll always remember that. And that's the thing, is like, it's such a simple thing to do, right? You're like, why would I like sit and dance on IG Live? But like, you have people that love you and ride for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So that's all the questions that I have for you this evening, but you're going to perform for us.
Should I do it now?
Yep, take it away.
So the first song is called Jolene. We just talked about Dolly Parton.
You're doing it?
Well, this is a song that was inspired by.
Okay.
It's like from a whole different perspective.
Okay, cool.
So yeah. So this is in the perspective of Jolene's husband, who leaves Jolene.
Okay.
Leaves Dolly Parton for Jolene. Yeah. Do you? Yeah. Hop in the back of the Cadillac. Tell me where your heart is at. Tell me what you want to feel when you know this. Holding on to what I lost just to hold you. 'cause I'll vanish, but you wanna be untitled. Jolene, tell me what you're feeling right now. Help me realize what you do. Do you hop in the Cadillac? Tell me where your heart is at. Please just hop in the Cadillac. Tell me where your heart is at. Tell me what you wanna do after hours, 2 a.m. and the night is howling. Yeah. I don't know what you're feeling right now, but I'm feeling like an ocean breeze trying to take over my psyche. Tell me what you know is missing. It's okay if you break my heart. I'll pick up the pieces and set it right off the back of the track. Tell me where your heart is at. Jolene, Jolene, yeah. Hop in the back of the Cadillac, Cadillac. Jolene, yeah. Cadillac, tell me where your heart is at. Hop in the Cadillac, tell me where your heart is at. Jolene, cozy, call me when your heart's skipping a beat. Hit me 36 when you feel it. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're feeling. But I'm cruising down Love Street. Ah, I'm cruising down Love Street. Beep, beep, beep. Hey, beep, beep, beep. Beep. Hop in the back of the Cadillac. Hop in the back of the Cadillac. Hop in the back, hop in the back. Yeah. Jolene, yeah. Jolene. I said Jolene. That's Jolene.
Yes!
Hold on, genre.
I love it. Is that posted anywhere online?
Oh yeah, it's on Spotify, Apple
Okay.
Music, all the places.
Beautiful. Has Dolly Parton heard that song yet?
No, but if y'all keep tagging, maybe she will.
Yes, we need her to hear that song.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
whole different perspective, whole different vibe. But the next song is "Get You" by Daniel Caesar. Whole different vibe. Also, did a remix to it, so I hope you like it. Through drought and famine, a natural disaster, my baby has been around for me. Kingdoms are falling and angels be calling, but none of that could make me leave. Every time I look into your eyes, I see you're all I need. And every time I get a bit inside, I feel it. Ooh, 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 would have thought I'd get you. Yeah. Ooh, 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 would have thought I'd get you. Yeah. And when we're making love, your cries can be heard from far and wide. Everything I need's in between your eyes. Your cries can be heard from far and wide. Ooh, everything I need. Ooh, who would have thought I'd get you? Yeah. Ooh, ooh, who would have thought I'd get you? Yeah. Ooh. But don't you love when I come around, I'll build you up, and then I'll tear you down. Don't you love when I come around, I'll build you up, Ooh, who would have thought I'd get you? Yeah. Ooh. And that's Get You by Daniel Caesar.
Yes! Give it up for us, guys. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. We see you, Stephanie, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section below.
I see that Emmanuel actually went to high school with him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he said, have you drawn inspiration from musicians such as Bruce Springsteen, the Beatles, and the Beach Boys? Honestly, this is kind of sad, but I just got into the Beatles. I'm late in the game.
It's okay. At least it's okay, though.
So late. But, like, I've been listening to, what's the name of that album? But I've been listening to their albums, like, on repeat the past few months.
Yeah. Because
I love how they paint pictures with their words. Mm-hmm. And the same with like Pharrell when he writes. Who else? Leon Bridges, definitely. Mm-hmm. Miguel.
Yeah.
I look at different artists and how they write, and because I never want, some songs need to be explicit about what you're talking about, depending on the topic.
Totally.
But I like when songs tell the story without having to shove it in your face or having to put a dictionary in front of you for you to read it.
Yeah.
So definitely those artists have, they've made me rethink songwriting and
mm-hmm.
rethink how I can paint pictures with words. Because all artists have different ways of writing. But Frank Ocean also.
Yes.
Frank Ocean, I think he's the king of doing that.
Yeah.
Half of his songs, you're like, what are you talking about? And you're just like, wow, that's how I'm like, how does he write like that? How do you even come up with ideas like this?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love it. So who inspires you musically?
I love Amy Winehouse. She's always my number one because I love how raw she is.
Yeah.
And that happened. I remember watching her documentary, and every single song was on. It's not even that it was word for word, but kind of. It's like word for word what she was going through.
Yeah.
But she did it in a way that made you want to dance. It's like, how are you dancing through your pain right now? That's insane. Yeah. Another artist, I love Diana Ross. All her music is so dancey and happy, but if you really listen to it, I'm just like, this is kind of, why are these men treating you so bad?
I know.
Them from the earth at this point. But I like how she writes. I like her beat choices, and how she's able to put a smile on your face. And she's smiling through it too. I can hear it in her voice. I'm like, you don't realize this is toxic, but it's okay. It's okay. Song.
It's like, who are these guys that are being so horrible to her?
I know.
Like the Diana Ross.
Yeah, I'm like, the Supremes, when I listen to their music, I'm like, so good.
Right.
But then sometimes I just sit down, or I'm cleaning my room, and I'm actually listening to the lyrics. And I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
I'm mad y'all had to go through this.
I know. But sometimes when you're going through a crazy time, that's when the best music comes out, because you're inspired by a situation either you or close with is going through.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. So, Diana Ross. I love Miguel. Mm-hmm. Miguel, when he put out Kaleidoscope Dream, that album, it's still 10 out of 10. I don't think I skip any song.
Yeah.
Me and my used to listen to that coming from school every single day.
Mm-hmm.
It was that album, Jasmine Sullivan's album, and then Justin Timberlake's, I believe it was Sexy. Is that the name of it? Sexy Back?
Yeah, Sexy Back. It's like the white cover.
Yeah, that one. We would listen to that every ride home from school.
Yeah.
So yeah, those artists are top tier.
Yes. You want to know something? You just mentioned Justin Timberlake, and he just posted on Instagram earlier how one of his albums with NSYNC, it was like 20 years ago that they released it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like 20 years ago was like, oh my God, I'm old. And then I was like, and I looked at everybody else's comments, and they're like, oh yeah, 20 years ago when we had to go to the store to buy.
Yeah.
I definitely think you need to listen to the NSYNC stuff, because Justin is all, I mean, you hear Justin's voice above all the other guys in the band.
I love NSYNC. Like, yes. Whenever I clean my room, always on. But I'm like, I knew there was probably beef in the group.
I'm sure.
Did they know before the songs were coming out that Justin's voice was going to be the lead?
Oh my God.
Or like the person mixing, they were like, we have to turn everybody down. Don't tell them until the songs comes out and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, there was, when you think of groups, there was always like a lead. Like, for instance, when you think of Destiny's Child, like, yes, there was Destiny's Child, but it was all Beyonce. Yeah,
but it wasn't supposed to be all Beyonce. It just, that's the route it took.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh my gosh, Beyonce, like, wow. And then you're like, Justin Timberlake, wow. But yeah, I was listening to that album, that NSYNC album. Yeah, I was listening to that NSYNC album, and I was like going through, I'm like, oh my God, Justin? Oh, I definitely hear Justin. Yeah. Throughout the entire thing.
Front and center. But he was also like the cutest.
Yes.
It all works.
Yeah, definitely like the best good look. He was definitely the best looking out of the group, if you think about it. If you line them all up, he was the most attractive.
I agree.
What is your favorite instrument?
My favorite instrument, honestly, is the ukulele, because I'm learning how to play now. And I just pumped out a song using it, and it's something about that Hawaiian, easy breezy sound that I'm just like, there's no other instrument. Of course, there's guitar and there's other different instruments, but the strings, everything just feels different. It sounds different. Mm-hmm. It brings a whole different freeness to a song. So I say ukulele.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's so much emotion behind it. But when you hear it, you kind of feel like you're on an island. Oh,
yes. That's why I'm like, just turn it up. Let's go to Jamaica or Hawaii.
There was another question in here. Where do you want to go after COVID?
Where do I want to go? Well, first things first. So when the pandemic happened, I was in March. I was in Cape Town, South Africa, studying abroad. And they had to bring us all the way back because borders were closing. Yeah. So I think first stop would be to go back to Cape Town and finish out my study abroad experience, do all the touristy things that I didn't have a chance to do.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to go to an island, Jamaica, St. Martin, St. Thomas, somewhere warm, because it'll probably be around December, the winter time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if I know all the scientists are saying there'll be another wave, but let's just not even talk about it, because maybe it won't happen.
Yeah.
Let's say winter, we're going to a beach island.
Yeah, East Coast winters are not fun. I mean, you're in DC, so I know you don't get like the brunt of it. I mean, New York really gets pummeled with snow, but I'm all for an island.
Yeah. I don't want to be in New York for the winter. I don't want to be in Chicago for the winter.
No, of course not.
No, Europe, no. I have a friend who always, whenever we talk about like, what vacation do you want to go on? She's always like, I want to go to Denmark in December. I'm like, you're crazy. Why would I go on vacation? That's not a vacation. That's stressful. That's work.
Yeah. Yeah, that does not sound fun.
Like, go in the summertime. But yeah.
What song do you wish you wrote and why?
Like from another artist?
Yeah.
Okay. That's an interesting question. I wish I wrote. That's a good question. I keep singing the Miguel song, If It Be the Cash, I'll be
Yeah.
that's Sure Thing. Probably
Yeah.
Sure. And I remember there was an interview and he said that he didn't think that that song was going to be as big as it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It really explains how in love he is with that girl and how he will be any and everything that you need him to be.
Yeah.
So I always think that is a great song. Jasmine Sullivan, Pick Up Your Feelings. That's a great song too. There's so many songs.
Tons.
Insanity.
Yes. Jolene.
I don't want to have written Jolene. I enjoy being the listener.
Yeah.
But I do like how she's written it and how I was able to kind of reimagine it for my song.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think, what is a song that, like, for sure, it'll come to me. Maybe later on I'll be like, that's the song I was thinking of.
My guy Chris wants to know, who would you want to do a tribute to you?
A tribute to me?
Yes.
Miguel. I remember going to his concert and I was just like, I'm opening up for you one of these days.
It happened.
Flip that around?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Or her, that'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because she can do backflips with her voice.
Definitely. So, any final words for the room?
Thank you so much for having me. And if anybody would like to follow me, just type my name, AINAE MUSIX, on literally every social media platform. I keep it consistent, you know. If you want to listen to my music, type my name in and DM me. Let me know what you think. Because, you know, this is the beginning of my music journey and I'm so excited for where we'll go.
Yes.
And I just want to share love to everyone who's a part of it.
Yes, I love that. Ainae, thank you so much for coming on my show. This was so much fun. You're my 100th guest, and I'm so appreciative of you sharing this huge milestone with me. So guys, if you don't already, please make sure to follow her on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, all that good stuff. New music is coming. So stay tuned. And guys, if you don't already, please make sure to follow me. I'm Ashley Live. This is Vibin with Ashley Live. And if you love this conversation, please follow me for more awesome musicians coming my way. Ainae, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Stay forward to seeing and hearing all the new music.
Yes. All right. Well, have a good night. And bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.